Hello. So, um, welcome. I wanted to film this because I feel like I'm being called to create. I don't know why in my head I said an exit plan, but I feel like I'm being called to create a route to you, something personal that you can use to affirm or confirm your feelings. And so I want to speak to you. Um, I already speak to you a lot, but this is, I guess, more direct. If you're wondering, so today I looked in the mirror and I had huge dark circles around my eyes because I'm so tired. I've been working really, really hard being a teacher and putting my all into lesson planning, and so I don't get a lot of sleep and I get stressed out because I want the kids to learn. So I'm really tired, and I was kind of shocked to look at my face and see those dark circles. But I thought, you know what? This is something that I've earned through my work, and I want to honor them the same way that, women like to honor their stretch marks by calling them their tiger stripes, and this is a symbol of me as a hardworking woman, and I hope to not always have dark circles under my eyes and to be, well nourished and well rested. But this is the beginning, and it is normal to be tired and not getting a lot of sleep and just trying to figure things out. So I wanted to honor this phase of the journey with a cool little makeup thing. So yeah, that's why I got my makeup this way. And it was fun to be creative in that way. But beyond that, so I want to talk to you today, and I want to help you because I feel that maybe you could use some guidance and some nourishment was what I heard in my head. Some nourishment. So I want to give that to you, bring that to you. So, yeah, I have my Healing Oracle deck. I don't know how often you watch readings or you watch tarot or oracle. I don't know how involved that is in your life, but it's something I really love. And I haven't been doing readings really because I have a strong ethical code when it comes to delivering messages. And if I don't feel confident in the accuracy and the resonance, and whether it's a healthy and safe message to deliver, considering the psychology of people right now and the level of desperation that exists in the world, I don't like to deliver messages if I think that they might become a crutch for people. But I feel like for you that this is something that would actually be nourishing and healing. And in my head I just said preventative and predictive. So this is something that I think I can deliver with accuracy, and so I want to. And I'm looking at this baby right now, and I'm sure you know I love babies. I can't wait to have a baby. I was listening just to the sounds of the world as I was getting ready to do this, and there's a baby crying. Maybe a baby, maybe a toddler, but crying enough to where, they weren't speaking words, they were just crying. And it was kind of nourishing for me to hear because the cry is the universal sound. It's the universal language. It doesn't matter what country you're in and what language people are speaking, a baby speaks one, and all the babies speak the same language of that cry. And I felt very nourished by it, even though that might be strange to say. But I'm living in a country where most people speak a language different from me, and so it is comforting to hear a sound that I know and a sound that I desire to know more intimately through being able to one day hear the cry of my own child. as they come into this world. And I don't know why, but I'm getting emotional. Well, I do know why. Just because that's something that I think is a very beautiful image, and a very beautiful thought. And I think that I wonder how often you imagine or dream. In my head, I want to say the stillness of life, but it's interesting because when I first saw this baby, I thought still life, and I didn't want to say it because when I heard still life, I'm realizing now that I heard still life, but when I heard it and I saw the baby, I thought I heard stillborn. And that is, you know, one of the most incredible tragedies. I don't want to cry, but that's one of the most incredible tragedies anyone can go through, experiencing that kind of loss. But I didn't hear stillborn. I didn't. I'm realizing that now. What I heard was still life. And now that I'm hearing that even more and I'm saying that even more, still life, what I'm hearing is that there is still life. There is still life here. There is still life. There is still vitality. This thing is still alive. Isn't that interesting? Because I thought I had heard something that was actually the marker of an end, of a death. But in actuality, I didn't hear that at all. That's just what I guess I thought. But what I actually heard was still life. And I was reminded by telling you that story about the baby's cry and going full circle into my own things with children. And now I'm realizing I heard still life, which I think is very, very beautiful to imagine and to recognize, to realize that there's still life here. But also there is another part to this that feels like still life. When life is still, when life is peaceful. I think one of the moments that we get to experience stillness and still life is nature. You know, when I'm in the park, when I'm in Toronto and I'm in the botanical garden near the bridle path, that botanical garden, there's this big outstretched piece of land with grass and beautiful trees. And I would go there a lot during the summer. And it's such a beautiful place. And I'm not sure why I'm so emotional. Well, there could be many reasons. But anyways, yeah, there's a beautiful park there. And I would go there all the time for a season of my life. And I would just lay there, and even though there were squirrels and the wind would be blowing through the trees, it still felt like still life. Like still life, like a moment or a place where time paused. And when I think of still life, I think of peace. And when I see this baby, what I feel is like the womb chakra opening up is what I said in my head. But I think of this place of peace where babies are born and where babies can feel settled. And I think of warm water and a shallow pool and light and a crystal floor with warm water and light, and babies just comfortably in the water in these shells. Maybe that's because that's what I see, but I also think that there's an opening. I think that there's an opening here, an opening there, and something very important to memorize. about this feeling because it's mesmerizing. It's very mesmerizing. It's very beautiful. And in my head, I said entitled, and I'm not sure if I meant that you're entitled to feel that way, because that's what I said afterwards. Um, but even entitled in the sense that you have a right. You know, you have a right to this feeling. You have a right to the feeling of peace. You have a right to the beginning of something. You know, I think oftentimes if you live a life with a predictive nature, which many of us do because we cycle in patterns, and sometimes there are patterns that we cycle in that are good for us overall, and so we continue that habit. But it creates this predictive nature in our life that makes us feel like there's never really a true new beginning, that you always already kind of know everything. And it allows you to feel settled in the middle rather than being vulnerable and brave enough to go to the beginning, you know, to go to the start. You can't go to the end. We can't go to the future. Um, it's always ahead of us. But you can go to the beginning, you know. It's a place you can go to. And I think with the predictive nature of life, sometimes because we feel that we know all already about a certain situation or a way that things work, and maybe that's because in your head you've envisioned it all. Maybe you have information. Maybe you've just had a certain experience. Um, you know something. It makes you feel like you're already in it, but that's imaginary and illusory, elusive. And I think the reality is that there is like a physical beginning that is available and ready for you. And it's something that, you know, it's a step. It's a step you have to take, like 1, 2, 3. And I think with the baby, with this baby seeming to really be a big symbol for you, there's definitely a vulnerability there. But I'm again thinking back to this idea that you have the right. And I'm thinking about the natural inherent right that every baby has. You know, once a baby has been born and they are here, they have the right to grow up and to have every experience of maturity and evolution that human beings have. You know, they have the right to that. They have the right to learn how to walk and to learn how to talk and to learn how to learn their motor skills and eat food, learn how to eat food and not just drink milk, learn how to sleep on their own, learn how to use the bathroom. They have the right to all of these things that are just a part of human nature. They have the right. They are entitled. And there is something that you are entitled to. And I hope that you are not depriving yourself of it by doing this very adult thing of using the fact that we have a predictive nature to our life to assume that you already know, and so placing yourself in the middle rather than doing the work of going from the beginning, you know, doing the work of going from the beginning. And I'll give you an example. If you have a crush and you know a lot about this person, you can place yourself in the middle of the story of the life of you and your crush, you and this person that you hope to be with. But the reality is that the story has not begun because you have not spoken to them. You have not told them anything. Maybe you have a reality with this person, but it's not in the storyline that you want, the one that you dream of, the one that in your head you're in the middle of. That storyline doesn't exist because you haven't created it, because you haven't been at the beginning yet. You know, you have to create the new beginning by taking the step and by allowing yourself to be vulnerable and allowing yourself to be born into a new timeline, a new story. And I think there's something to that, you know. We can feel like we know someone so well, And if we have feelings to go with that, we can actually end up getting caught up in this cycle of just being in the middle and having this feeling that we already know all, that predictive nature. And so you miss your chance to start something. And I think Spirit is saying here that there is a start waiting for you, but you have to be willing to take those steps, take that step, say something, arrive, be born, reveal yourself, you know? So yeah, it's time to go for it. It's time to dive in. And it's scary, it's so scary, but it's totally worth it. It's completely worth it. And honestly, it's the lead up that is the most anxiety inducing. Like all day, I haven't really felt like doing anything. And to be honest, I never quite, well, not never, but this week mostly I haven't felt like doing any work for Matri Wisdom. I haven't felt like delivering any messages. I have messages on my heart, and that's not true. I do sometimes feel like it, but it never quite feels like the right time, you know? And I rarely have like an urge where it's like, oh my God, I gotta do this. It's more like a knowing that I need to do this. But in terms of getting the feeling behind it, you know, that's something I have to conjure up on my own. There's no wind behind me pushing me to contribute to Matri Wisdom. I have to be the wind, you know? And so today I finally got up, got showered, put on my makeup, which I feel like is my superhero cape, and got started with this message. And now that I'm doing it, I'm so glad I did it. It's been quite an emotional roller coaster, which I was not expecting at all. And I did not have any clue what the message would end up being. I only knew that I wanted to speak to you, but it's ended up being much lighter, much easier than I expected. And that is something that's predictive. I do know that I really love this kind of work, and this is work I can do easily. It's just the getting there, it's the getting started, and I feel that it might be the same for you. You know, it's scary to jump off the deep end, but then you do it, and then you're in the deep end, and then you're swimming, and you realize, well, what's the difference between the shallow end and the deep end? Just a few more feet of water, but if you know how to swim, then it doesn't really matter, and you know how to swim. You know, there are certain gifts that you have that are inherent to you. And it makes me think again about the baby. You know, they're not scared in water because they were born into water. They were created in water. And so seeing this baby in this crystalline, shallow pool, despite them being so small, you know, water is their home. There's nothing to be afraid of. And I think this is the same for you. Whatever this is that you're reaching for and then hesitating and reaching for and then hesitating, it's yours. It's meant for you. You were created with this. This is you. This is half of you. This is part of you. This is all of you. This is you. Your creation, your love, your right, your world. You not only deserve this, but you are entitled to this. And that's not a thing of ownership. That's a thing of divinity. That's a thing of fate. You know, and that's a beautiful thing. I'm very, very happy to be entitled to you and entitled to deliver you this message. That's something that I do with my will. That's something that I do with my free choice, my free will. And yet I feel comfortable being entitled to do this. And having you feel that I am entitled to deliver you this message, I'm happy. Happy to do it because I think it's a beautiful message. So yeah, that's what I'm feeling right now. It's interesting, this is the full moon, but I'm not quite sure because in Korea, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the difference is between American Canadian timing with like what time they put for astrology versus Korean, because we're 13 hours ahead, but it's the full moon. Like, that's what the energy is going on about. And I really felt it. And I've also started my period yesterday, so I've just been very emotional. Yeah. But anyways, I'm gonna move on because I have something else I want to talk about, and it's separate from this. So I'm happy I got to do this for you and for me. And I love you. So, bye. Goodbye.